So you're looking to buy a new house, an amazing decision and a huge decision at that. Here are my 5 tips on what you should know before you start the home buying process. Check them out.
Get pre-qualified with a lender.
So what's pre-qualification? In essence, it's how much the bank is willing to lend you to buy a house. One of the worst things a buyer can do or potential buyer can do is go out, start looking at homes, getting very excited about these homes, find that dream house or that house is pretty close to everything they're looking for, then go get pre-qualified only to find out they can't afford that house. So you don't want to do that. You want to avoid that heartache and you want to avoid unnecessary searches. You need to drill down that search and be absolutely focused on what you can afford. If you're going to be qualified for a $500,000 home, then it does us no good to look in the $600,000 and $700,000 range if you're living here in Southern California, obviously. So we need to keep that range in the 500 and lower range. So pre-qualification is an essential first step in your home buying search.
Find your own real estate agent.
Now this one might seem obvious, go ahead and get a real estate agent for yourself, but in many cases you'll be surprised that sometimes people walk into an open house or walk into a home, they fall in love with it, and they talk to the listing agent there, and the listing agent asks them, hey, I can represent you as well as the seller. So now you have one agent representing both sides, which isn't a bad thing in and of itself. However, when it comes to buying a home, there is always going to be areas where there's going to be a negotiation and a going back and forth. The seller's going to have conditions that they want as part of the sale, and the buyer's going to have certain things in their mind that they want when it comes to the sale. And when you get to the point where there's an impasse, when you have one single agent there representing both sides, there can be a little bit of a conflict there for that agent. You want somebody who's in your corner, dedicated to you and you alone. That's why you want to work with a dedicated real estate agent that's representing only you. Because when it comes down to the negotiation, you want to be able to have someone who has no conflict anywhere else and they're only working on your behalf. You always want to be represented, have your representation be your real estate agent, and make sure it's someone who knows the area. You'll be surprised how many cities have requirements that are specific to that city and not to other cities. So it's always important to work with a real estate agent that's dedicated to you and that's an expert in that particular area.
Avoid unnecessary pressure to buy.
Now this one's a really important point. When you're buying a home, there's a lot of excitement in the home search, but there's also some pressure as well. You'll find when you're doing a home search that if you put in a couple of offers and you lost them, the pressure builds and it's like, okay, if we don't get this next one, we're never going to find a house. And so there's an inherent pressure that builds up in the home buying search. And sometimes you'll make that jump and maybe you jump it just because you want to buy that house. Take your time, relax, think it through, do your homework, do your research. Remember, this is going to be one of the biggest purchases you're ever going to make. So you want to make sure you're doing it in a thoughtful way. Don't give in to the pressure that I have to buy it. If I don't go ahead and get this next house, we're never going to find a house. There's always a house out there for you, even if it takes a little bit longer time. So avoid undue pressure on yourself. Don't work yourself up to a point where you get stressed because the process is stressful enough. Don't add any more pressure to yourself or any more stress to yourself. Take your time, do your research, and with your agent, you will find that right house at that right time.
Beware of the dream home mindset.
Now everyone's looking for their dream home, that one home you've seen in the magazine, the one you've been picturing in your mind your entire life. And that's a really good goal to have. But the reality is that most home buyers find about 70% of what they're looking for in a home when they do their purchase. And why is that? Because no home is perfect. Unless you're going to build your home from the ground up where everything is just absolutely ideal and perfect, you're generally going to be looking for homes that are pretty close to what you're looking for. So be aware of the dream home mindset. It's okay to have what's important to you in your head, but don't discount homes just because they don't fit every single criteria. Remember, you may never ever find that dream home on the market. You create your dream home. So don't be afraid of taking a chance on a home that's about 70% of what you're looking for. That other 30% is that's what you're going to put into it. That's the energy and the design and the touches that you're going to put on it to make it that dream home. So it's okay to have an idea of what you're looking for in your head. Just be aware that when it comes to a home search, don't discount good homes to find the perfect home, because that perfect home may not be out there. And in the search for that perfect home, you miss out on a couple of really, really good homes, and you don't want to do that, especially in a competitive market.
Keep cash reserves after closing.
So why is it important to have cash reserve after the close of escrow? You've put your money on the down payment, closing cost, and now you're ready to move in, but you always want to have some cash reserve still. Here's the reason why. Owning a home is not a one and done thing. There's maintenance, there's upkeep, there's home improvements. There's a variety of things that can come up in home ownership. Also, taxes come up, and that's an important thing, especially here in California. Yearly taxes can be quite an expensive thing. So you want to make sure you always have cash reserves at the close of escrow. Don't wipe out all of your investment, all of your money just on the down payment and the closing costs. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. You want to have some cash reserves just to protect yourself, give yourself a little bit of buffer and some peace of mind. So those are just 5 tips that I recommend to those who are looking to buy a house. Remember, buying a house is an exciting experience, but it also can be a daunting one. So don't be afraid. Ask questions, do your research, find a real estate agent that you trust, and don't be afraid to ask them a ton of questions. That's our job. So if there's any questions that I didn't cover, or if you want some clarifications on the tips I gave, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions you have. And if you could do me a big favor, go ahead and hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know next time my videos go up. And I'll talk to you guys real soon.